Hello, today we're going to look at another way of solving quadratic equations, which is by using the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is this kind of complicated looking equation right here. And notice it has x equals, and then you have a, b, and c with all kinds of crazy things happening to them after the equal sign. Where the a, b, and c comes from is from the format of your original equation. In order to use the quadratic formula, your original equation has to look something like this right here. Something x squared plus something x plus something equals 0. A, b, and c are just placeholders for numbers. For today, looking at all of our example problems, our equations look like that. Something x squared, something x number equals 0. In the future, there'll be some that don't look like that, so you'll have to rearrange first. We'll worry about that later. Also notice that in this quadratic equation, we have a plus or minus sign. And so Desmos, which we will use extensively to do these because Desmos is awesome, does not let us type in a plus or minus sign. So I'll show you how to get around that. But basically what happens is, remember that plus or minus means the positive version of something or plus sign version of something, as well as the minus or negative sign version of that. And so what you'll have to do in Desmos is type both of these things in. These two things combined together mean the same as the one I have circled up here. One version where we have a plus sign here in between b and the square root, and one where we have a minus sign here in between b and the square root. So, like I said, crazy complicated looking formula, but it lets us solve any quadratic equation as long as we have things written in the correct order. So, like I said, we will use Desmos heavily for a lot of this, and I will show you exactly how to do that. It looks like it's going to be a lot of typing into Desmos, but I'll show you a way around not having to type everything in every time. So, let's take a look at this first example problem. First of all, check to make sure everything's in the right order, which it is. Something x squared, something x number equals 0. I think it's easiest to label what a, b, and c are. A is just the number in front of x squared, so a is 2. B is the number in front of regular x, so for this problem, it's negative 12. The negative is part of that. C is the regular number term, so for this problem, it's negative 110. From here, we are going to do things in Desmos. When we do things in Desmos, we are going to type in both versions of the quadratic formula, and we are going to type in our numbers for A, B, and C. So let me show you how to do that. So you are literally going to type in a stuff with all the X's and A's and B's and C's in it. X equals, I'm going to start with the plus sign version. We have a fraction here. Remember, to get a fraction, we're going to hit our division key and then type in exactly what you see. In the top of the fraction, we have negative b plus, to get your square root, remember it's down in the bottom here in a pi button. And then we have b squared. To get the squared, hit that exponent 2 button, minus 4ac. I'm now done with the top of the equation, so I need to click into the bottom part and type in the bottom of my fraction, which is much shorter. It's just 2a. Ignore the slider thing for now. Don't worry about that. I'm going to go ahead and also type in the minus sign version of this. I'm going to click into the next spot. Oh, also don't worry about that little warning symbol. It'll resolve itself here in a moment. I'm going to type in the minus version. So once again, x equals sign. My fraction I get by doing the division key first, and then type in the top and bottom of your fraction. Negative b minus square root sign. B squared, to get that exponent 2, minus 4ac. Click down in the bottom of the fraction, do the bottom of your fraction, which is just 2a. Again, that slider stuff pops up, ignore it. Desmos can do this for us if we tell it what a, b, and c are. So then the next thing we're going to do is, on each own line, we're going to type in our numbers for a, b, and c. So for this problem, a equals 2, looking at what we labeled before. B equals negative 12. Ignore what you see in the graph. Ignore any sliders or anything that come up. And C equals negative 110. Now that I have A, B, and C all entered in, Desmos uses that A, B, and C to calculate my answers with the quadratic formula. So then my two solutions for this are the two values for x that Desmos gives us. Our two solutions are going to be x equals 11 and x equals negative 5. Positive solutions are fine. Negative solutions are fine. Having them both positive, both negative, or one or each are fine. We'll also see that you can get decimal answers here too, and that's okay. Now, we spent a lot of time typing all of that into Desmos. I would say the easiest thing to do is to leave the two equations in Desmos, but when you go on to do the next problem, just change your A, B, and C. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my A, B, and C so I'm ready for the next problem. It's going to be the same quadratic formula every time, so don't type that in every single time. Save yourself some time. Let's try the next one. So let's start by labeling our A, B, and C. A is the number in front of x squared, so this time A is 7. B is the number in front of x, so -8. C is the number at the end, so -16. I already have my quadratic formula in Desmos. Again, don't type it in every time. That's going to waste a lot of time. I just need to update with what my new A, B, and C are. This time A is 7. B is -8. Don't forget that negative sign. And C is -16. Once I do all that, Desmos gives me my two solutions. This time my two solutions are decimals, and that's okay. You don't need to type out that whole crazy decimal. You can just round to the nearest tenth. Or sorry, not tenth, but hundredth, which is 2 decimal places. So my first one, x equals 2.1. Since I have a 7 next to that 8, it's going to bump up to 9. So x equals 2.19 is one of my solutions. Same idea with the second solution, x equals -1.0. Look next door to the 4 is another 4, so that's going to stay -1.04. Again, you do not need to type out the whole crazy decimal. You may round to 2 decimal places. Cool. Let's try another one. So I'm going to do a new problem. I'm going to undo my numbers for A, B, and C. I'll type in new ones when I know what they are. Looking at my next problem, this time A is 4. I don't see a number in front of X. Remember when you don't see a number in front of something, it's a hidden 1. So B is 1. That's very important. You have to have a number for B. And C is -68. So let's update Desmos with those things. A is 4. B is 1. C is -68. Desmos gives us our two solutions for this problem. First solution is just 4. Second solution is -4.25. By the way, it doesn't matter what order you write your solutions in. I do not care. As long as you have the two right solutions, what order you write them in does not matter to me whatsoever. Let's try one more. So let's get rid of our A, B, and C numbers because we're going to type in new ones. This time for this last problem, my equation looks like 3x squared plus 3x minus 36 equals 0. Number in front of x squared is a, so 3. Number in front of x is b, also 3. It's okay if you have a and b being the same number. Repeat of numbers is okay. And then c is the number term at the end, so -36. Let's update our Desmos. A is 3. B is also 3. C is -36. Don't forget your negative sign. Desmos does all the heavy lifting for us and tells us that one solution is 3 and the other solution is -4. We'll do some more complicated quadratic formula problems in the future, but for now, I just wanted to show you the basics and how to use Desmos. You could also use a different calculator to do these, but in a different calculator, it's very difficult to type all of this in at once. And so you'd have to break it into multiple steps. I highly, highly, highly recommend using Desmos. That is it for today. Hope you have a fantastic day.